Deep in the northern edge of the Pacific, where the map of the American continent begins to fray into a jagged collection of volcanic teeth, there is a place where the Earth's crust was torn open and never truly healed. This is not the Alaska of postcard forests or whale-watching cruises. This is a dead zone, a monochromatic scar on the face of the planet known as the Valley of 10,000 Smokes. Here, the calendar stopped in the summer of 1912 when a roar louder than 1,000 thunderclaps shook the foundations of the world. For 60 hours, the sky vanished. When the sun finally broke through the suffocating veil of ash, a lush, emerald valley had been replaced by an alien wasteland of steaming pumice and suffocating heat. What remains today is a haunting monument to the sheer, indifferent power of geological time. We move across the landscape as if crossing the surface of a dying star. The colors here are wrong. There is no green of the hemlock, no blue of the alpine lake. Instead, the world is draped in shades of scorched ochre, skeletal white, and bruised orange. The ground beneath our feet is a layer of ash 700 feet deep, a suffocating blanket that buried an entire ecosystem in a matter of hours. This is the site of the largest volcanic eruption of the 20th century, a blast 30 times more powerful than the explosion of Mount St. Helens. Yet because it happened in this remote corner of the Katmai wilderness, it occurred in almost total solitude. It is a catastrophe without witnesses, a masterpiece of destruction painted on a canvas of absolute silence. As we descend into the heart of the valley, the scale begins to distort the senses. What look like ripples in the sand are actually massive dunes of volcanic glass. The wind here doesn't whistle through trees, it howls across a flat, featureless void, carrying the ghost whisper of shifting grit. There is a profound, heavy stillness here that feels heavy in the lungs. It is the silence of a tomb. For miles, the earth is incised by deep, terrifyingly narrow canyons, carved by the frantic rush of glacial meltwater trying to reclaim a land of fire. These canyons reveal the interior of the ash flow, stratified layers of grey and salmon-colored dust that look like the rings of an ancient petrified tree. Look closely at the horizon, where the jagged silhouette of the Trident volcano and Mount Katmai pierce the clouds. These are the sentinels of the valley, snow-capped peaks that hide hearts of molten rock. Between them sits the Novarupta, the new break. It is not a towering mountain, but a jagged, grotesque plug of obsidian and rhyolite, a scab formed over the Earth's most violent wound. It is the source of the nightmare. When this vent opened, it didn't just spill lava, it exhaled the very interior of the planet, turning the atmosphere into a furnace and the ground into a river of liquid fire that moved at the speed of a jet. If you are finding yourself captivated by the raw, untamed power of our planet's most hidden corners, take a moment to subscribe and join us as we journey deeper into the world's final frontiers. Let's continue our descent into the smoke. The paradox of this place is found in the water. Amidst the parched, dusty expanse, turquoise rivers born from the surrounding glaciers slice through the pumice. The water is ice-cold, yet it flows through a valley that was, within living memory, a literal hell on Earth. In the years immediately following the eruption, this entire floor was perforated by thousands of fumaroles, vents in the earth that shrieked with high-pressure steam, some reaching temperatures hot enough to melt lead. Early explorers described it as a place where the Earth itself was breathing, a terrifying display of planetary respiration. Today, the smokes have mostly vanished, leaving behind a hollowed-out world of fossil fumaroles, brightly colored mineral chimneys of red and yellow where the chemicals of the Earth's core once bled into the air. There is no wildlife here. No bears wander these flats. There is nothing for them to eat. No birds nest in the cliffs of ash. The wind is too fierce and the shelter too scarce. To stand in the center of the valley of 10,000 smokes is to experience a world without us. It is a glimpse into the Earth's prehistory, or perhaps its post-human future. It is a landscape that defies the biological imperative to grow and flourish. Instead, it simply exists, a vast geological meditation on the power of fire to erase the memory of life. The mountains surrounding the valley are draped in glaciers that look like spilled cream, frozen in a permanent struggle against the volcanic heat that occasionally stirs beneath them. This is the ultimate elemental battle, the grinding weight of the ice versus the explosive rage of the magma. As the sun begins to dip toward the Aleutian Range, the valley undergoes a terrifying transformation. The orange dust catches the light, turning the entire basin into a glowing cauldron that looks like it is once again on fire. The shadows of the volcanic peak stretch out like long, dark fingers, reclaiming the land. It is in this light that you realize the Valley of 10,000 Smokes is not a dead place, but a resting one. The pressure continues to build beneath the Novarupta. The tectonic plates continue their slow, grinding collision beneath the crust. This wasteland is merely a temporary state, a pause in a cycle of violence that has repeated for millions of years and will repeat again. We leave this place with a sense of our own profound fragility. We are used to a world that is green and hospitable, a world that seems designed for our survival. But here, in the shadow of Katmai, we are reminded that the Earth is a restless, volatile entity that does not require our presence. The Valley of 10,000 Smokes is a cathedral of ash, a monument to the moment the Earth decided to speak, and in doing so, silenced everything else. It remains one of the last truly untouched regions of our world, not because it is protected by law, but because it is protected by its own hostility. It is a place too unreal to believe, a land of fire and ice, where the only constant is the wind carrying the dust of a broken world into the infinite reach of the Alaskan sky. We are but temporary visitors to a planet that is, at its heart, an alien wilderness.